This event happened just this morning when my friend came to pick him up and go out for diving on his boat. We went out of marina and something happened to the engine, so we have to return because one of the engine was not functioning. So as we went back, and that's a long story, but at the end, I figured out that the valve that fuel goes into the engine was turned off, whatever the reason was. We estimated the prior day when he was checking something up the bilge, something hit the valve, so it turned. The result is that the fuel stopped going. Instead, maybe air went inside, and therefore the engine stopped. So that's the story, and we came back to the marina, someone pulled us. And then later we also found that the steering wheel is not functioning, and that was caused by the boat scratching at the bottom on the sand before getting back into the marina. There was a shallow area. The guy who was pulling our boat made a mistake of going into that shallow part. So that's another trouble. And the result is that the steering wheel has to be redone. The hydraulic system is not working. So double failure. I thought about what it implies in our body. In this case, fuel not going into like a heart so that the engine stops. And on the way back, there was another mistake related to pulling the boat onto the sandy area. There was a mistake of the other boat pulling us. So double failure, and that's the sad day that we couldn't go. Later we went out surfing. But reflecting on that boat, I was talking to him that it's like looking at our body. Any one problem, the arteries or the cancer cells here or there, can trigger other part to fail, and then the whole situation doesn't work, so we die. This is not our body, but it's the board. Yet it's the same thing. I also thought that in our body's case, compared to the mechanics, the machinery, and the stuff in the board, what we have in our body is the cells alive, and there's a healing ability for the cells to work together if something's going wrong. If the artery is not doing well, the body starts to figure out something is wrong, the pressure is going up high or whatever, so they try to fix it. Western medicine is to replace the artery or whatever. But there's a healing or biological ability within us that keeps us alive. So one is the, replacing the artery. The other one is holistic medicine, if you want to call it, trying to induce the body's ability to heal. I often think about stomach ache. When we are busy thinking, we may not notice the stomach ache. If this continues, the body is trying to fix it on its own, but the mind is occupied in something else, so that maybe a cancer is developed. So when you notice that, you pay attention to the stomach aching or whatever, and that's the way of the heart bring into the process of wisdom. The nature has it such that we are born out of the dust of the universe to be alive. And this making us alive is how we got here. But as we live, the cells are always being replaced, depending upon the organ, or skin, or lung, or depending on location. The cycle may be different. It could be few weeks, or 1 month, or 3 months, or 1 year. So there are different cycles of replacement. Except neuron, I understand they may not replace it like any other body part. So the replacement is like getting rid of the dead cells and bringing out the new cells alive. Maybe something to do with the stem cells working, functioning. I don't know the detail about it, but it's in our nature. So back to this stomach case, if you notice it, something wrong, even not going to the doctor, you may start to pay attention to it. Notice the problem, go into samadhi, listen to your heart. What do we do? Something is wrong. Like a cat, animals tend to be quiet when something is not right. Eventually, they get the energy back. Maybe the healing takes place. And that's the Eastern medicine, if you want to call that. And those two medicines, Eastern and Western, can be combined. Emergency issue that need to be done something strong and rapidly, maybe Western medicine, but when it comes to the gradual changes and encouraging a body to replace the bad cells, even dealing with the cancer, I tend to believe there's such ability, so that probably is the reason why like a Zen monk tend to live long. And the ones who may be heading the organization, coordinating activities, well, I can think about Warren Buffett. He's 90-some years old. Charlie Munger, 99 years old when he died. They have the wisdom capability to bring out from inside, like listening to heart. Not just the mind figuring out, like reading a book and this is the way and they do it. It's narrow. It's not connected to the root of who we are. As kids grow up, it takes time. Not just the brain, memory, but body in some way or the other connect to it. So the liveliness that we have in a body is tied to the way that our mind functions. Ultimately, that is to happen, in my view. So there's a connection of the brain, and that's why I say use the brain, not to be used, but listen to your heart, where the energy comes, the root of the tree I talked about, the life of a tree. And we are branches and the leaves that can explore whatever our mission may lead us to, whatever the interest that we've got. Liveliness is a key parameter to know if we are in the right direction or not. I use the word waku-waku to indicate the level of liveliness in Japanese. Waku-waku is like a spring water coming out of the ground. And you feel great when you are in line to what you feel is good and help the society, and you are bringing all the abilities, and the sense of waku-waku would help us to be vibrant in what we do. More ideas come back. If it doesn't, like in the case of the pain in stomach, we stay quiet, endure it, and go deep down to be quiet and figure out. Because that's not the time to go vibrant, do something, in spite of the pain you have or something wrong. So that both story of having something wrong indicate human body that heals on its own. But if we depend on the Western medicine, you may have to take pills and do the surgery and this and that. But if we have the way of listening to heart, connecting to the root of who we are, then we can figure out if this goes wrong and additionally this happens, then this could be the case. But if you go backward, if we didn't do it, this part should be okay. And because of the healing capability we have, it's like a wisdom coming out of samadhi. The mind quiet and self-organizes. The cells in the body self-organizes, including the neurons, to come up with a wisdom or healing power. So that's what I think is the analogy of this boat incident. and our body. And I think it's meaningful to know that it's not just a logic, but there's a biological process within us to keep us alive. That's the foundation. Mind is just attached to that foundation. But if you overemphasize the mind and get confused and leaving the body functioning alone, it may suffer. So that's the basic message. One other story, just quickly, related to that, was that in case of women compared to men, I think women tend to live long, and I feel that the reason for that is that they need to work on so many things, like in the kitchen situation, housekeeping. Traditionally, women has a lot of portion that they, put for raising kids, having birth and all that. The men tend to go out, catching fish or doing something and bring back. And the men are the ones to take a risk to bring back food. Women is to coordinate things. So the women's kind of like a CEO. The man is like a knight or the bishop or just running around to do things. And they take risk. And they're kind of single-minded. And the woman is the coordinator. And they take care of the kids and they think about the future of the kids and coordinate things, arrange things, what's missing, what's not. So they're always balancing out, like at the CEO level. The man is like a military operation, going this way or going that way. If you come back, take a rest, and then mate with your wife or whatever, and then go out again. I think that's the reason why men are a little short-sighted, and women tend to have a better understanding of how the family should function. And in Japan, I can remember people are saying that in older days, maybe it's also the same now, when the men come back from work, give the money to the women take care of the budget and what to be done. So they have the authority, and also they live long. Not to complain, the man is handicapped. In fact, in my case, I had 2 divorces. Now I'm single. So I have to work on a different role of women too, which makes me even think like this. First woman was the Japanese, second was American. First one is more like obedient. I wasn't sure if I like it. The second one is like a very manly, very independent woman. Both of them, I had some issues. So eventually, I'm trying this different role of being alone. And the learning takes time, but I'm just sharing this personal story from the board and the issue about the body, the cycle of the regenerating the cells. So the life and death is always together, living, dying, and then more cells may come up and heal and then move on. And then we talked about women and men. There are some ideas that I think I may want to go deeper or just think about, what it means about life and how we live our life. Just a little story to share. Thank you.